Hey guys, welcome back. It's Claytano. Thank you so much for tuning in as always. And this is the top 5 natural 5-star win monsters for Arena. What I do in this series is just go over the top 5 monsters of this specific element for this specific part of the game and why they are actually ranked as high as they are. So just to get right into it, here we have number 5 with Ahamamir. This is Ahamamir. It's the actually a free-to-play monster that you can get by doing your guild wars and summoning Ifrit pieces. Okay. Now I personally have yet to summon an Ahamamir, but he is actually really good because he has an AoE third skill and an AoE second skill. Now, as you guys have noticed in my previous fire and water top 5 natural 5-star monsters for Arena, a lot of them are AoE type based. The reason why is because if you have AoE, you can clear the enemy opponent or the enemy AD faster, which makes your clears faster, which makes your arena rank go up faster, etc, etc, etc. Okay, so let's just take a look at the first skill here, or the third skill. It's the third skill technically. But it emits magical energy to attack all enemies. The damage increases by 30% for each harmful effect on the enemies. Now this isn't just one, it's not just two, it's every single beneficial or not beneficial effect, but every single harmful effect that is on the enemy. So it stacks as many times as you can possibly stack it. So not only are you going to have a defense break on the other team using a Galleon with him, not only are you going to have an attack buff, but you're also going to get 30% more damage with every single harmful effect, which adds up really quickly. You'll see some massive damage coming out of an Ahamamir whenever there's a lot of buffs on them. So pair this up with Galleon, pair it up with somebody else that's going to put a lot more harmful effects, maybe even a Fire Desert Queen, something like that, to just kind of add in as many debuffs as you possibly can. That's really the name of the game. Maybe even something that does a lot of dots as well would help. Also, his second skill is a AoE damage based skill, but it's really damage based on proportion to his max HP. Now he has a ton of max HP for an attack monster, which is also a really good reason why he's in this top 5 list. Because look, I don't think there's any other attack monster in the game that has 11,370. There's some HP monsters that don't even have that much HP. So it's crazy, and he's not slow either. Does it do a whole lot of damage? No, it's not as much damage as you probably get, but the fact that it does damage based off his max HP, he has decent max HP, and then it also stuns them with a 30% chance once you skill it up. So yes, technically it is a little bit awkward that each skill does damage based on a different stat, but when it comes down to it, he's still dealing a lot of damage. He's still going to be fast, he's still going to be tanky, and he's still going to do a lot of damage. Okay, moving on from Ahamamir, we have number 4, which is Leo, and it is the Wind Dragonite. Let's talk about why Leo is on here. Okay, and a lot of people might think, oh, Leo sucks, Leo's not very good, he's easy to counter, etc, etc. However, the fact that you have to build an arena defense around a Leo in higher rank arenas and even in mid rank arenas, you have to specifically make sure that your certain monsters are built with will runes. Otherwise, you're completely screwed. Otherwise, the opponent is just going to boost their attack bar. They're going to decrease the attack bar on your attack bar booster, and they're going to go first and completely wipe your team out in one single shot, one single strike. Not to mention, if you happen to survive that one single strike, if a Leo is built on Vampire Revenge, he is almost unkillable if he's built tanky enough. Now he does have a ton of HP as well, but really what's happening is that when you have this second skill here, Torrent, the damage of his attack increases as your HP drops. If your HP is below 30%, the enemy's defense is ignored. So if you build an HP crit damage HP with a lot of attack substats or HP crit damage attack, the main thing is you want it to be super tanky. You want it to deal a lot of damage when he's ignoring your defense, because he's going to regain a ton of damage or a ton of HP back with Vampire Runes. Plus the fact that this goes down to a really low cool rate is super nice as well. But the passive of his third skill here, the attack speed of all enemies and allies is limited to your attack speed. This effect does not affect enemies with the same skill, decrease the enemy's attack bar by 10% within attack. So if it was just the first part of this skill where it sets everybody to 1 or sets everybody to the same attack speed, which I think is 100, then it would be okay. Now the thing that makes him super overpowered is that because he gets to go first every single time, he also gets to choose who he wants to decrease the attack bar of. So like I said earlier, if he attacks the person that's going to be boosting up the opponent's attack bar, then they don't stand a chance, because if they don't boost their attack bar, everybody's at 100. If you have a faster monster than their second fastest monster that didn't get their attack bar reduced, then you're going first. His first skill here inflicts continuous damage for 2 turns if you land a critical hit. You're pretty much going to have him with 100% crit rate, because that's how you're going to do damage based on your second skill. Alright, moving on from Leo, we have Teshar. Teshar is on here solely for his damage output, his pure damage output. He's crazy damage dealer, and he also resets his third skill anytime an enemy dies. So if he kills one monster, that means he gets his full massive damage dealing AoE skill right back for the next turn. If he violent procs, that means he's getting 2 full AoE skills against your team. And then most likely, if you survive 2 of his hits, most likely somebody else has not survived 2 of his hits, so you're gonna have to go again and survive 3 of his hits. So it's really insane the amount of damage he can get. This is also probably one of the best farming monsters in the game as well, depending on which scenario you go to. If it's 8 in Hell, this is probably one of the fastest ones, along with Lucian. Now, not only does he have that third skill, but his second skill also just does massive damage single target, so you can kill those pesky little arenas, Camillas, all those, you know, really tanky water monsters, even an Ariel or something like that. The more HP the target enemy currently has, the larger the damage becomes. So he's a water tank buster. And then his first skill just has a chance to stun, which is also amazing as well. Just have a little CC on your damage dealer, never hurts. His attack power is super high, his speed is super high, HP is really low, but that's okay because most likely you're going to be killing the enemy team before they kill you, as long as you have the right monsters to pair with it. Galleon is a good one, also an attack bar booster, something like that along the way as well. Alright, number 2. Number 2, who's it going to be? It is Tiana. So Tiana is clearly supposed to be on this list. She is used on almost every single top 30, top 10, top 5, top 1 arena offense in Summoner's War. Really, with anything, with bombs, cleaves, even non-cleave, non-AO. Like, if you have Tiana and you're not using it on arena offense, you're doing it wrong. You're really doing it wrong. Unless they have an Amduat, then use somebody else like Bernard. If they don't have an Amduat, which is the Dark Horse, if you have a Tiana, you better be using it. Okay, so let's talk about why. Third skill removes all harmful effects of the allies and enemies and increases the attack bar of all allies by 30%. This effect can't be resisted. It can't be resisted. There's no chance that the enemy team is going to put up will runes and then happen to maybe get 1 or 2 that resist the buff removal. No. Every single one of them get removed. The fact that it removes buffs off your team doesn't really affect it too much. Really, it's just based that because, okay, you're going second, but you're still boosting your attack bar at the same time that you're removing everybody's buffs, and then you just have your Galleon go right after Tiana. You have your, you know, whatever you're putting on the monsters as well after the Tiana, of course. I mean, that just makes sense. But if it's not OP enough just to have that unresistible, you know, skill that removes all the beneficial effects, it's also increasing the attack bar of your allies by 30%, which is just as much as Bernard does. So, I mean, she's pretty much a Bernard on steroids. Okay, the speed is a little bit different though. We'll talk about that in just a second. Let's talk about the second skill though. This attacks all enemies with a powerful storm. The damage increases proportionate to your enemy's attack speed. So, she got a buff recently as well, meaning that if she is built with no damage runes at all, she's still going to be doing a little bit more damage than she used to be because if she's going against a fast team, she's going to be dealing more damage based on their attack speed, not hers, not anybody else's, the opponent's attack speed. So the faster you are, the faster you're going to die. Alright, now the kicker, let's give her also a defense break on her turn 1. If you happen to miss a galleon, if you happen to miss something else that you really need to have an extra chance to get a defense break on there, she's your girl. Also right there with you for another support thing. So I don't really see the leader skill being used very often. I can see it being used in RTA, but overall you don't really use her as a leader skill. You want to use somebody with a speed leader skill with Tiana, or cleave it with like a Zeros or Poseidon, something like that along those lines. Alright, her HP is really nice. Her attack is meh, don't really need attack though. Defense is pretty good. It's a support monster, but her speed is really bad. So does the speed being low really bring her into balance with everybody else? I don't think so. I think she's still an amazing monster. That's why she's number 2 on this list. Alright, moving forward now to the number 1 monster on the list. Used to really be considered as the worst oracle out there. This is Sierra, the Wind Oracle. Used to be the absolute worst oracle. And then she got one buff that really changed the meta completely, and now she is one of the most OP monsters in the entire game. And that was to create this effect that anytime she uses her bomb, she instantly gains another turn after using the skill. So she can place the bomb and immediately after detonate the bomb at the same time. So this opened a whole new avenue for arena offenses that they can build Tianas with galleons and then any other type of bomber, Lively, Dover, Jojo, Malaka, anything like that, then they go. So Tiana removes the will, galleon puts up a defense break plus an attack boost. Then Malaka goes, Jojo goes, any of those guys go. They put on a full AoE bomb, and then Sierra comes in, either double bomb someone or puts a bomb on another person that happened to resist the bomb, and then immediately after gets another turn and is able to detonate all the bombs on them, instantly dealing damage that ignores defense. It stuns them. It does a whole bunch of shit that is just crazy. There's almost no counter to this type of arena defense. Almost no counter. There is a little bit of a counter with Samath, with Amduat, things like that, but it's very, very unit specific to counter this type of defense, or this type of arena offense. And then not only that, she also has an attack bar boost on her first skill, which is, patented to all of the oracles, which makes her that much better because she's gaining more turns. If you put her on violent, she's going to be gaining a lot of turns, not just based on her violent runes, but it's also resetting the violent runes at any time she gets another turn, and it's also increasing her attack bar so that way she gets up to that violent chance even quicker. Her attack is decent, HP is decent, speed is decent, defense is decent, everything on her is really decent, and she's an amazing monster. And if you have one, you better believe that you're using her on your AO a lot of the times if you have certain other monsters to play with it as well. But aside from that, I hope you guys liked this episode of the top natural 5-star monsters for each specific area of the game. If you want to check out my previous videos, you can see a link coming up here in just a second. But as always, stay soupy, don't be potatoes. Make sure you like and comment and subscribe so you don't miss the next one, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye. Obey the light, but always a goal.